too complicated. They don't know how to mount it on their roof. It's just all really complicated. They don't know what to do with it. A lot of people ask specifically about flexible panels. Can I just lay a flexible panel out on the ground and run a wire into my van and charge my battery somehow? And that is probably one of the, not the cheapest, but one of the easiest solutions. And because it's easy, it's often the cheapest. If you have to pay someone to install a solar, that's not going to be cheap. I also really like the idea of setting a panel outside. The problem is you got to drag these panels in and out. You need at least a 200 watt panel or two 100 watt panels, and then you're taking them inside, you're taking them outside, and setting them up, and then you got the risk of rain and damage and being stolen. And then inside they take up a lot of space. If you're in a van or a car, where are you going to put these panels and just carry them around? A good solution is the flexible solar panels. It is. They weigh nothing, like 10 pounds, less than 10 pounds. They're easy to move around in the car. They don't take up much space. And so I've been wanting to test flexible solar panels and do a comparison of multiples of them. And so I bought one. I've not been impressed with anything I've heard about solar panels, and so I have not been recommending them. I have Renogy, who I do recommend. I love Renogy kits. If you're going to buy a kit, I recommend Renogy kit. They initially started selling flexible solar panels and stopped because they broke. I mean, that's just all there is to it. I started knowing people with the flexible, and they started breaking them. And they'd send them back, and the Renogy would send them a new one, and then they'd break again. We think they're not gonna. We hope they're not gonna be fragile, and it turns out they were. So Renogy's just stopped selling it. They no longer sell a flexible solar panel, only hard-sided, and I haven't heard too good of things about the others either. Let me just say that was the best thing about Renogy. They took care of every single customer. If you wrote in and said, "I can't, my flexible solar panel broke," they said, "Send it back, we'll send you a hard one." You get these no-name panels from China on eBay, who's going to help you? I don't think anyone's going to help you. Another company I've heard really good things about and has been around on Amazon with kits and panels is Windy Nation. So this is a 100 watt flexible panel from Windy Nation. I ordered it and bought it. I paid my own money. We're going to test it out. It's going to be a long-term test. We're going to set it out. I'm actually going to loan it to my friend Carolyn, and she's going to test it because she uses outside panels and I don't. And we're going to find out, and I'm going to buy a couple of other brands just so she can test them out. There are good reasons to want a flexible panel outside your vehicle. You get a long enough cable, and you can park in the shade and put your panels out in the sun. You'll save a lot of money in installation. You don't have to climb. If you don't know how to install panels on the roof of your van, or if you know how and you're just afraid to drill holes in the roof of your van, and I've talked to a lot of people that say, "I won't drill a hole in my van." This solves that problem. It's easy to fit in the van. It's easy to carry in and out. I would treat it like it's fragile, because that's the problem. People treated them like they weren't fragile. They treated them like they were flexible and kind of bit them and threw them around and tried to roll them. They won't do that. Treat it like it's inflexible, and if you get bent a little bit, that'll be just fine. I think that's the answer to these things, is if you treat them really nice, I think they'll last. We'll find out, but I don't know that. I'm just guessing. The reason we're doing this is to find out. And I'm starting with this Windy Nation 100 watt monocrystalline panel, and so we're going to do an unboxing. And so we're doing this, and then we're going to do another one at a different time. So you're seeing it for the very first time, like I am. Installation, and there it is. There is a 100 watt flexible solar panel. They weigh nothing. I mean, that's the thing I love about them. You can just pick this up. I hope you can really kind of see that. I'm holding this between my thumb and my forefinger. It's no big deal. It's slick, but it weighs nothing. You can take this, you can stack 2 or 3 of these together and just carry them gently in and out You can see it bounces a little. I would suggest that you just really minimize the flexing. Pretend they're inflexible and just be grateful they're so small and so easy to handle. I don't know if it's going to be any good or not. We're going to find out. We'll test it and set it up and start charging batteries with it. And it uses MC4 connectors. Those of you who don't know anything about solar, which is probably quite a few of you, MC4 is a universal standard of connectors. Solars are now being used regularly on houses, and so they fall under the National Electrical Code that controls all houses. And houses are always use what these are called MC4 connectors. It makes it really easy to connect these panels to nearly anything. If you have 100 panels connected on the top of a roof, of a warehouse roof, and they all have this universal MC4 connector, plugging them all together in a chain is child's play. I mean, it's child's play. Anyone can do it. And then it makes easy to buy cables. This is, let me show you this. This is a 40-foot, 8-gauge MC4 connector cable. Two of them, red and black. Each are 40 feet. It had to be heavy. I'm going to connect at least 2 of these together. I might put 3 of them in series and run them on this cable. I wanted them to be able to get as far away from the rig as possible, in this case a Class C, or one of a van, a car, so that you could be in the shade and the panel could be far away in the sun. That's the goal. And to have a 40-foot cable, you need 8-gauge. I'm hoping to carry 300 watts in series, so it's higher voltage, 40 feet. So a red and a black. Here's an MC4 connector. And so it's as simple as this. They've made it very, very simple. So here is a red. Here's the red one. That means positive in the 12-volt world. And this is part of the 12-volt world. Although this is an 18-volt panel, this is part of the 12-volt world. So we're calling it 12-volt, although it is literally putting out 18-volt. It has a red one that's positive, and it connects to, this is what's called a male connector. It has a prong that sticks out. This is a female connector, and what does it have? It has a hole the prong goes into. Don't write me. I mean, it's just obvious that it's a male and a female connector. And connecting it is just this hard. Oh, it's hard, but I think everyone here can do it. Now, it goes in here, and it goes in there, and then it goes together, and that's connected. Now, I can unwind this 40 feet away and hook it up. It's just that simple. Now, this, on the other end, this will go into the charge controller, and you can't use the MC4 there, so I'll just cut it off. We have to get a tool to connect these, disconnect these. They're just connected to each other. But it will connect to this, and then we'll run it across and plug it into a charge controller. You do need a charge controller. I happen to have, from a previous project I worked on, I happen to have a Renogy Wanderer. It's a cheap controller, but because it's a Renogy product, I have a lot of confidence in it. So I have a Renogy Wanderer that we're going to put this all together in. And again, it's so simple. It's 4 connections. So this shows a tiny little picture of a solar panel, and this shows a tiny little picture of a battery. Guess how that works? The solar panel connects to these 2 holes. The battery connects to these 2 holes. And it's marked as a tiny little picture of a solar panel with a positive and a negative. Black is always negative, so the negative plugs into this black hole. Red in the 12-volt world is always positive, and it goes into this positive hole. Man, it just can't be any simpler than that. And then coming out of your battery, you'll have another cable that comes out of here. The positive goes to the positive post of your battery. The negative goes to the negative post of your battery. Again, it just can't be any simpler than that. So that's basically it. You need the cabling for those things. I've got the cable to run this into the controller. I'll just cut off this end of the positive, strip the wire, pull it out, and then put it in this hole and tighten it down. And the same with the negative wire. This is everything you need to do, and I'll do another a video of the actual installation. I won't do that right now. And I'm going to get 2 or 3 of these panels, and I will have a test. I will tell you, maybe I'll do a report every month or 2 and tell you which ones are holding up and which ones are not. So we went ahead and did a real quick job of connecting this flexible solar panel in with the just the MC4 connectors. We just used MC4 connectors that came with it, and the cable that I bought, which had MC4 connectors on both ends. And you can see it's in the sun. You can see my shadow. And this isn't anywhere near a permanent job. We just needed power today. And so we did what was easy and connected it up with MC4s. You'll see that the van, the RV, is in shade, virtually totally in shade. That's the reason you love having your panel outside. My van happens to be in the sun mostly right now, but you can see right there the panel is in full sun. And because it has a longer cable, I can get it further out, away from the RV, and get it into the sun. And here are her other panels. They're not in the sun because the cable on them are too short. She doesn't have them long enough, and they're awkward. They're just 2 big heavy panels, dragging them around. It's kind of a pain. We checked it on voltmeter. It's putting out over 19 volts, 19.3, which is just right, just what it should be putting out. We're not losing any drop. We checked voltage drop across the 40 feet of 8 gauge cable, and no voltage drop. So it's working really, really well. And it's doing its main job. It's light, it's easy to handle, and it keeps your vehicle in the shade. So Carolyn and I are going to give you our first impressions, and then we'll give you long-term reports as we go. So Carolyn, what do you think so far?
I like it. I like that. So as Bob said earlier, I like having my solar panels not on my roof so that I can move them around and chase the sun, and I don't have to park in the sun. I get asked that a lot. Why are your panels not on the roof? Well, that's why. But they're not really that heavy, but they're cumbersome, and especially because the 2 are attached together. So they're not easy to drag around. This thing, look at this. This is nice. So that's my first impression. It's very convenient. We hooked it up. It was really easy to hook up. I instantly got more power going into my battery. So so I like it.
Good. So it's just a matter now of, does it hold up? That's the only question. All the advantages are just great. They weigh like, that's 4 pounds, 5 pounds. It's just nothing.
And this is not 4 pounds.
I think it's 20. The question is on their durability, and that's really the thing. We'll just give you report backs every so often. And I'm also going to try I'll buy different brands. So you can maybe even, I have 4 of them out here. The MC4s are not meant to be quick disconnects. We need to come up with a better system, and we'll do a video on that as soon as we do. We'll probably I'd like to do it so that it can use a standard outdoor 110 electrical cord, which you can do pretty easily, and I'll show you how. Okay, so there you go. That's the beginning of the test, and we'll keep you apprised as we go along and see how it works out. Thank you, Carolyn, for being my test guinea pig. Thanks for watching, and we will talk to you later. In the meantime, subscribe to the channel, like us on YouTube, tell all your friends there's a better way to live and you can follow your dreams. Talk to you later.